How dangerous is torrenting without VPN? In today's world, if you're old enough to use the internet, then there's no way you don't know what a torrent client is. Even if you haven't used it ever, your friends will talk about downloading the latest movies, TV shows, and songs on the internet through torrent websites. It has been around since the days of the 56.6K modem, and the chances are that it'll still be here when we get blazing fast internet speeds of 100 gigabits per second in our homes. However, there are many people who say that using a torrent can be quite unsafe, especially because it leaves your computer or laptop vulnerable to malware and all sorts of viruses and hacks. So, what should be done then? The answer is simple: use a VPN. Virtual Private Networks or VPNs are a way for you to mask your IP address and MAC address by sending your data traffic through an encrypted virtual tunnel. It adds an extra layer of security to your internet, making torrenting and other functions safer. Still, think you don't need a VPN to use torrents? Well, let us show how dangerous it can be. The risks of torrenting without VPN. Suppose you're still not convinced why you need to use a VPN while torrenting. Have a look at the following reasons. They're bound to make you reconsider your decision. Lack of privacy. When you're torrenting without using a VPN, you're literally sitting in a house with no walls. This alliteration shows you clearly how vulnerable you are when you're torrenting without a VPN. This makes it incredibly easy for users on the torrenting software to take a peek at your IP address. This address can be used to do a lot of harm, such as obtaining all your social media passwords, hacking your online banking information, using your IP address to do something illegal, and much more. Once your IP address is in the hands of someone with malicious intent, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. To make sure you don't hand over your IP address to random strangers who can exploit it, make sure you use NordVPN. It has got a string of wonderful security and privacy features that will keep your IP address guarded. ISP throttling. ISP throttling, or bandwidth throttling, refers to the intentional slowing down or killing of your internet service, which can cause a disruption in your internet browsing. Internet service providers are known to do that, especially if they detect a very high bandwidth usage from your IP address. When you're using a torrent, you're using up a lot of bandwidth, which might irk your internet service provider, causing him to blacklist your IP address. That wouldn't be a lot of fun, would it? Your internet service provider may also slap a fine on you or terminate your connection for good, which will mean that you'll have to go through the tedious process of getting a new ISP. To make sure that it doesn't come to this, your best option is NordVPN. It allows you to split your applications, so you can route only your torrent through its VPN. Copyright infringement. While we all love to use torrents to download the latest content in high definition, we tend to look the other way whenever someone says that it's illegal. Everybody knows this, and this also means that we're committing copyright infringement by sharing and downloading licensed content. You might not think much about it, but if the content creator or any agency monitoring internet traffic sees that you're downloading their content from your IP address, you can get pulled into a wave of legal battles. It's certainly not worth it to use torrents without a VPN. In case you're wondering how the content creator will nab you, it's pretty simple. There are certain companies that have been entrusted the responsibility of locating torrents like you from your IP address and sending you subpoenas or legal notices. In case you live in a different country, they can use your internet service provider to make sure you're served. Remember that the next time you use your torrent. If you're already looking for the best VPN, there's no better choice than NordVPN. It has a large collection of servers all around the world, which ensures that you always get the fast speed you're used to. Cyber attacks. As we mentioned above, your IP address is visible to other users of the torrent client you're using, and not everyone on the client is only there for the content. Some people scout such platforms just to get a whiff of something that they can exploit, such as your exposed IP address. Once a hacker has your IP address, they can launch cyber attacks on it, or you may find yourself embroiled in a hacking attack that features many different IP addresses. It's not difficult to hack a device based on its IP address. And if they do it successfully, they'll have access to every single thing on your hard drive, as well as your cloud. So, the wise option would be to use a VPN while torrenting. It's a small price to pay if you ask us. Speaking of small prices, NordVPN is one of the most affordable VPN providers out there. Not only is it reasonably priced, but it also offers you the best security protocols you can find. Is it possible to get caught torrenting? It's as they say, you're not doing anything wrong until you're caught. It's a reality that you can get caught, and when you do, it won't be good. That's because the people who are monitoring you know how valuable it can be for them to catch people in the act and extort money from them. If you do get caught, you'll be threatened with a lawsuit, and to avoid that, you'll be asked to pay anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000. That will cause a big dent in your pocket, so it's better to be safe than sorry. How does a VPN make torrenting safer? Torrent clients are commonly designed as peer-to-peer networks, which leaves a lot of room for hacking and breach of privacy. You can even find your entire history of torrent downloads on various websites without even entering. That seems quite scary, and this is why we suggest you always use a VPN when you're torrenting. Here's a brief description of how VPN make torrenting safer. A VPN encrypts your entire internet traffic and routes it through a virtual encrypted tunnel. This data also includes your torrent data, which prevents ISPs from monitoring or reading your internet usage. As a result, they won't be able to block or throttle your IP address. A VPN also hides your IP address from the world by routing your internet traffic through a server located in another country. This means that instead of your IP address, an entirely different IP address from another country will show in the torrent client, and no one will be able to do anything with it. Normally, the VPN keeps a log of your internet usage. But if you disable this feature, or your VPN doesn't do this, there is no visible link between your public IP and you. This prevents content creators from taking any action against you. If you think setting up a VPN will be a tedious job, don't worry. It's as easy as torrenting, and you can get it up and running in a few minutes. And if you choose NordVPN, it'll allow you to set everything up in a few clicks only. Is NordVPN the best choice for torrenting? When it comes to choosing a VPN to protect you as you use a torrent, there is no better option than NordVPN, which has an impressive user base of 12 million users, as well as more than 5,000 servers in 81 locations across the world. On top of that, it also has stellar security and privacy protocols that build a fortress around your IP address as you're torrenting. The highlight of NordVPN is that it has dedicated servers for P2P traffic, which makes it the most suitable choice for torrenting. It also masks your IP securely, making it impossible for hackers or other torrent users to copy or exploit it. Another amazing factor that makes NordVPN the best of all is the torrenting speeds that it provides, which are far better than other VPN that you can find online. Keep in mind that all VPN decrease internet speeds, so if anyone advertises their VPN to provide 100% internet speed, they're certainly lying. In the case of NordVPN, it decreases your internet speed a little, but not enough to cause any disruptions in your browsing experience or torrent downloads. Another way to test the VPN performance is to download a large-sized file on your torrent client, say 1.5 gigabits. You won't feel as if you're using a VPN. Make sure to check out NordVPN today and start torrenting safely. Click on the link in the description below for the latest offer from NordVPN service.